Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of ancient Greece, to Late Night with the Olympians. Please give a big round of applause to your host, all-powerful, almighty, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Zeus, ruler of gods.
Thank you, thank you. Today's topic will be powerful women of the Odyssey. Our first guest has come here straight from the long-lost island of Ogygia. Her persuasiveness and stunning good looks has kept Odysseus trapped on her island for 7 whole years. Please give it up for Calypso.
Thank you, Zeus. I must say, it's an honor to be here tonight. And may I add, that is a wonderful necklace. Really brings out the sparkle in your eyes.
Why, thank you, Calypso. Now, word on the street is, after 7 years of keeping Odysseus on your island, Hermes paid you a visit and told you that you have to, by order of the gods, let Odysseus go. What was your reaction?
You know the old saying, don't kill the messenger? Well, I pretty much did just that. And I laughed in Hermes' face and told him that I thought the Olympian gods were some of the most self-centered, cruel, jealous beings that I had ever met. I basically pulled Odysseus out of the ocean and then nursed him back to health and loved him and took care of him for 7 whole years. You'd think that after everything I did, everything I sacrificed, that I would be good enough. But no! The gods always have to have their way.
I see, Calypso. Now I must ask, what exactly motivated you into keeping Odysseus on that island for 7 whole years?
I loved him. I loved him, and I couldn't let him go because I knew if I let him go, he'd be gone forever, and I didn't want to live forever without him. We belonged together, but I knew as soon as I saw him looking out into the ocean, I knew that he missed his wife, and I knew I was losing him.
You never had him, honey.
I knew that if I let him go, it'd truly be over. I did everything I could, but he loved his wife. And when Hermes came, I had to let him go. I'm sorry. We belonged together. But I did everything I could. I offered him immortality. I took care of him. I fed him. I nourished him. He lived in luxury with me. I don't know what else I could have done. I can't do without him.
Okay, Calypso. How very kind of you. Finally, I've heard from many gods, goddesses, and sailors alike that you are one of the most hospitable women on the seas. Is that true?
Why, of course it is, Zeus. After all, not only have I welcomed Odysseus into my home, but I also treated Hermes very hospitably when he visited me in Ogygia. I gave him a nice seat, and I fed him a feast for God. I gave him wine. Too bad I never got anything in return for all my kindness.
It's been a pleasure having you, Calypso.
The pleasure was mine, Zeus.
Our next guest is a powerful enchantress all the way from the island of Aiaia. Please welcome Circe.
Hello, Zeus. How's Carol?
Same as ever. How are things with you?
Can't complain.
So, Circe, how exactly did you turn Odysseus' men into pigs?
Well, first I invited them into my home for dinner, and then I drugged them with my drugs. Finally, I used my magic to turn them into swine.
I see. So why exactly did you turn them into pigs?
Well, I believe that all men are swine, because I was just simply turning them into their true form.
Interesting. How did Odysseus show you trickery in your own home?
Well, to start off, he was equipped with a charm from Hermes that was preventing him from being poisoned by my drugs. When I tried to turn him into a pig, he jumped at me with a sword. I offered to lay with him, and afterward he convinced me to turn his men back into humans. In return, he stayed with me for a whole year.
Interesting. Thank you for joining us today, Circe.
Thank you.
Please welcome the wonderful Penelope to the show.
Thanks, Zeus.
So, Penelope, Tell us how you made it 20 years without marrying again.
Well, I always had the feeling he was alive.
So you didn't marry again. You had the feeling he was still alive, and you didn't want to lay with another man because you still believed that you were married to Odysseus.
Correct.
How did you feel with all those men in your husband's house, asking for your hand in marriage, assuming they didn't want to marry you, but that they just wanted the throne?
Well, the men had no respect for my husband's house at all. As far as they were concerned, it was also their house, but they really weren't there for me, just a shot to the king.
And how exactly did you trick the suitors?
I tricked them by telling them I would marry again after I finished weaving a cloth, but each night I unraveled it. This trick worked on them for 3 whole years.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Penelope.
Thanks for having me.
Our next guest has been using her infinite wisdom and godly powers to guide Odysseus on his way home. Please welcome, straight from the palace of Olympus, my beloved daughter, the one and only Pallas Athena, goddess of wisdom.
Thanks, Zeus. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. First off, I've heard some rumors that you've been helping Telemachus, Odysseus' beloved son, on his journey to find his father. What exactly did you do?
Well, Zeus, first I went over to Odysseus' palace, disguised myself as Memphis, a family friend of Odysseus's, and consulted poor Telemachus at the time. He was tending to his mother's suitors' needs, who, might I add, were truly awful guests. They were rude, greedy, overbearing men. They behaved arrogantly. I advised Telemachus to set out to find his father and drive out his mother's suitors. I also provided him with a boat and 20 men and assisted him on his journey to King Nestor's palace.
I see. I have also heard from many gods and goddesses down on Mount Olympus that you and Odysseus have a kind of special bond. What is it about Odysseus that you favor?
Well, as goddess of wisdom in battle, I see much of my qualities in him. He has the makes of a heroic leader. He is courageous, wise, noble, confident, and has a strong presence. His need for glory is quick thinking, reflex, and his intellect all show great character.
So, how exactly did Telemachus show you hospitality when you visited him in Odysseus' home?
Well, when I first got there, he offered me food and drink and offered me a place to sit before he actually asked me who I was or where I had come from. I explained to him that I was a family friend, and from there he treated me like a nice guest, except for those suitors, because those suitors were evil. I'm telling you, if I had a knife...
Okay, I'm afraid that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us on Late Night with the Olympians.